Welcome to another episode of the Fat Potato Podcast, and today we'll be talking about Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go and what kind of influence it had on our community when it was around and such.
Yep.
We're going to break down the nuts and bolts of the game.
Yeah, so I think most people would say it's not a particularly good game. Like, it's...
I've got a lot to
Not
say
much
about the
to
game
it.
itself, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, I think mostly the company didn't really expect it to go so well.
We can still appreciate the kind of the kind of influence it had and sort of brought a lot of people together who initially wouldn't be sort of friends or anything like that. I mean any franchise can sort of bring a community of people together who wouldn't normally associate, but obviously this sort of forced you to go out into the real world and, to specific locations where you would find other people, like obviously, battling gyms or catching certain Pokemon and stuff. And I think once you can recognise a random on the street who likes the same thing you like, you've got something to talk about. I mean, you could walk past someone who you never knew before and they might like the same thing you do, but you'll never know. So
Yeah,
you'll never associate.
it's more the social aspect than anything
It's that
else.
feeling of like being a part of something
Yeah.
when you're
It's like the
around
new
everyone
trend.
else
It's like any-
is doing the same thing as you are.
Yeah, it's like any community, but obviously in Pokemon Go it was a lot more easy to spot who was part of it because everyone's got their phones out.
But you don't expect to see outside
Yeah.
or outside.
Got people outside.
Yeah.
I mean, Pokemon's been a long-standing franchise and its games have always basically revolved around the same system, and this was the first game in which they decided to change its mechanics, you could say. I mean, they decided to change the combat system.
Well, that's because it was not made by the Pokemon company.
No, it wasn't. It was made for an
Niantic.
entirely different purpose. Obviously, Niantic had a previous game before this one called Ingress, which pretty much had at least 50% of the game's completion already in it.
Yep.
And after layering, the skins and everything else onto the game, it was pretty much done. Which is actually one of the big reasons why I didn't like Pokemon Go. I felt it was a really lazy exploitation of the fandom.
Yeah, it's just slapping the Pokemon label and hoping people would
Pretty much,
go to it. Yeah.
I remember my brother showing me Ingress, and just like it shows you all the spawn locations for Pokemon. He knew where all the Pokemon would spawn, all the clusters and stuff, the
It's using
locations.
the same algorithm.
People in Ingress, the players actually made locations in the game that they actually ended up using for Pokemon Go and such as well.
Mm.
It was like there was so much that game did to make this game what it was, and that's one of the reasons why I hated it so much, because there was just so little going on in this game. I mean, if we want to go down into the nuts and bolts of the game now, like, I basically categorize a Pokemon game into 3 stages. First one is finding and catching Pokemon, which is what this game was all about. It was a big glorified treasure hunting game in which you could go to any specific location and find Pokemon and catch them, and that was the whole fun part. It was the only positive part of this game, that it made people go outside to do it. Second stage was training your Pokemon, and your third stage was battling them. So this is where it becomes a huge flop, because training Pokemon in this game, I could ask you one question that would show the cracks in this game.
Mm.
What is the point in choosing your starter?
Yeah, the starter wasn't a
Absolutely pointless, because you end up finding your stronger ones and you just grind it into the machine to get your candies out of it.
Yeah.
So choosing your starter, whether you chose the 3 or you got the Pikachu, didn't fucking matter, because it was absolutely useless. It was the weakest thing ever.
I like the I like the memes that came out of it, where it's just like a grind machine and you're putting Pokemon in it and things pop out the other end.
Yeah.
It's
So
like-
that's what it became, and that
That's
was the big frustrating part. I mean, I've even got ideas as to how this game could have been passable within the mechanics of what they've already had, and I'll get into that later. But the problem with training Pokemon is that you basically needed to level up, because the Pokemon's overall strength was tied to your account level. The stronger you were, the stronger Pokemon you'd find, and the stronger potential they would have. And ultimately, you needed to be a higher level to find higher Pokemon. That was fundamentally it. Any Pokemon you started with were eventually going away and replaced by newer ones.
There's no progression.
Yeah.
And no attachment to certain Pokemon.
Yeah.
There's, you couldn't have your one starter and then train him up through the game, or like I did in every other Pokemon game, just get a fucking Abra, turn into Kadabra, and just Psychic Beam everything to death. That's pretty much how I played all my Pokemon games. But I mean, like,
Kadabra's not even that good.
he was in Kadabra, right? He was. Right?
Alakazam.
Yeah, I never had anyone to trade with, right? But I still had Kadabra.
Oh, I mean, remember those Game Boy? You had to attach
Plug
wireless
in.
things and
Yes.
or with the cables and
Yes.
Those were the days.
awesome.
Those were the days. But yeah, this was all different, because now you just had to catch, to train your Pokemon, you just had to go catch more Pokemon. More of the first stage, just to get training your Pokemon up. And then, of course, battling, your third stage, what this game was supposed to all be about. I mean, when people thought of being played Pokemon in the real world, yeah, we're all going to be able to battle each other and whatever else, and trade. But the game had no live PvP, which is the only thing that we really ever wanted. And even though we had this sort of AI battling program instead, this is where they changed the combat mechanics for the first time of a Pokemon game to be this, I don't know what you would call it. I didn't get to experience it that much, but I don't know. I suppose it could have some interest to it, but you know, depending on the Pokemon's attack moves and things like that. But ultimately, I think
it was entirely down to like how high a level you were. So
Yeah.
if you weren't one of the first people to get the game, or if you weren't one of the people that was like really into it, you'd never get a gym. Never.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
As in, like,
I
if
claimed
you-
one for like 3 minutes once.
Yeah, if you live in a place where there's not many people
Oh,
playing,
that's true.
you can
See, I was
get a
always
gym.
like near the city or like on
Yeah.
a route where there were a lot of uni students around.
See, there's a primary school next to my place, and there's a Pokemon gym there. So, and then you, in the middle of the night, if you go for a walk, you'd see people just standing at a sign next to the sign where and just
Yeah.
you just see this glow on their face.
Yeah,
like,
like
oh no,
drive-bys and
Pokemon
shit.
Go.
Drive-bys for the gym and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
my god. See, that was one of the fundamental problems because I lived out in a rural area and my brother would go into the city for work every day. He was level 20 in his first
The
week.
city was OP because there's so many Pokestops.
And this was the big problem, is that obviously original games you had currency, right? So you'd go and battle trainers, you get currency and use that to buy Pokeballs and potions, whatever else. In this case, you got Pokestops that would just give you a random assortment of things for free. So all your resources were dependent on how many Pokestops you had. So the whole point of resources in both extremes was completely pointless. Either people out in rural areas could only play a very limited amount or not at all, because I had buckle Pokestops near where I lived and worked. So either I couldn't play, or you had people in the city who had an unlimited amount of resources, which made it ultimately pointless anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
So this is the big problem, is that it's a race to who can get to the highest level first, to get the strongest Pokemon, and only the people in the city who have the most amount of production going on can get there faster. And you still have to play a significant amount anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things they could have solved is if they brought currency into the game, and then you could actually get, you know, you could have Pokemon centers instead of Pokemon shops and Pokemarts instead of your Pokestops. And I'll explain how the currency would work later on. But again, that was one of the fundamental problems of the game, is that when you wanted to battle, you had no trainers to battle, you just had these gyms of AI Pokemon. And the big issue with that is one of the flaws, like in the previous Pokemon games, like you had a water type versus a fire type. And the water type would be super effective against the fire type, like double damage or whatever it was. In this game, that was significantly reduced.
They still had it.
They still had it, but it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
significantly reduced bonus damage,
Sure,
which
yeah.
making the overall strategy just about having the strongest fucking CP or whatever whatever the power number is, with making Pokemon like Dragonite the strongest in the game because he had the highest CP level. Like, again, ultimately ruining any kind of strategy you could possibly have for the game.
Honestly, I don't. The game, they just didn't put that much thought into it in the first place.
Yeah, there was just not
So,
much effort.
I mean,
As in,
They
like,
just reskinned what they had before.
yeah.
yes. I feel like they could have easily done more with what they had. So for starters, right, you can go around and catch wild Pokemon, right? So you've already got this AI system of battling an AI Pokemon. So why can't we battle wild Pokemon to train up the ones that we have? You've already got a versus AI kind of situation, right? Beyond that, why couldn't you find random NPC trainers as like Pokemon spawns in which you would verse more than two or more Pokemon? In which case you get money from doing that, and then you could go to your Pokestops and then go buy your Pokeballs. You could use that currency to actually effectively buy the things that you need, making it playable for everybody. That's one of the major things they could have done. It's just allowed us to be able to battle with the AI system that we already had, with trainers and wild Pokemon, and use that to gain your experience to train the Pokemon you have from scratch. And not make it so dependent on your character's account level or whatever to raise its overall potential. At least that's one of the ideas.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how practical it would be to implement all that stuff because
I don't think it would have taken that much.
the base game probably. I mean, I don't know. Because they didn't expect that many people on it because all the servers were all down all the time at the start
Yeah.
because they
Tracking never worked and
no one expected it to be so big. So I think it was designed to be one of those the games on the store that was kind of like a throwaway. Kind of like all those reskins of like adventure games where it's just like a little blocky dude and you're like, oh, you know, fight some dragons and and then it's just like a reskin every time. And sometimes they'll suck you in with like some Bleach or Naruto like skin or something. And people go play that, but it's the same shitty game. So
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
No, I think like even at the very least, the whole candy system bothered me. As in, if you wanted to get your Magikarp to a Gyarados, you had to get X amount of Magikarps to get it. As in,
powdered Magikarps.
yeah. As in, at the very least, couldn't you have made the candies at least just element based rather than specific Pokemon based? So just give us fire candy and water candy and whatever else, and then we can go catch a random.
Pokemon.
So then you could just catch a random assortment of fire Pokemon, and then just like boom, now you can level up your Charmander. Instead, you had to get that specific Pokemon over and over again just to make it stronger.
Yeah, sometimes it's just impossible to catch some of the ones unless you found a nest.
Yeah, which they took the nest out eventually, didn't they? Or something. That's what they did. Those do the Dratini farming until they got the best Dragonites they could get, and that's.
I remember Magikarp, so I had like 3, I think, and you needed like 300 to get a
400, I think.
400!
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you had like your water biomes where it was more likely to spawn in the water lake areas, and obviously then you had just your grass. Another further idea would, obviously this would be a bit more effort put into it, but just have different biomes. As in, obviously you've got all your areas sort of distinguished with the roads and everything else. So you could easily isolate any section to be a different kind of biome, whether it's like a desert or a volcano or whatever, and then you could find specific Pokemon types in those areas.
Sure, yeah.
But
that would
again,
be pretty cool.
that would take more effort and stuff for the game, and they just didn't do it, which is why I hated it so much. It was just so lazy and would have taken just a little bit of effort and creativity. And this game could have been something so huge. It could have been Game of the Year.
I think also they didn't need to do that because it was so popular despite being so broken that they were like, why would we fix it? People are still playing it.
Yeah. And I hated that. I hated how popular this was. I hate how cash farmed this game became. That's the thing, that's what I see it. It's just an exploitation of the fan base of Pokemon, and just like this
but people
game.
who had never played Pokemon were playing it.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a really trendy thing. Yeah, it was in.
It was
It went viral.
It was all about
That's the word.
But like real world viral, like.
Yeah.
It was all about the treasure hunting and just finding.
Giving it a shot as well.
Yeah.
It's like,
We like got our lecturers onto it and stuff.
Yeah. They even made like phone cases so you could flick the Pokeball straight.
Oh wow. Gotta be kidding.
But no, you got to get that swirl in for the extra.
Yeah, you always got to do the swirl thing.
Oh.
I hated it so much just because I had so many ideas of how this game would be better, and some within reason of the mechanics that they already had in the game already, and I just that's why I hated it so much. I was still playing it, mind you, but it could have been something really nice. And the game itself took far too much time out of someone's life just to be able to play. I mean, yeah, you could do it when you go for a jog or when you're doing this and that, but the game demanded far too much out of your life. Like you said, beyond a certain level, it just takes too much grinding just to level up. And again, since the strength of the Pokemon that you find is so tightly based on your account level, you had to get to a high level to really compete with any of the gyms.
Did you guys go any place specifically to go play Pokemon Go?
Not specifically, no.
I went on walks to play Pokemon Go, but I never was like, I'm going over to that place.
Yeah, my friend would call me in the middle of the night, like 9 o'clock. They're like, "Hey man, are you gonna come with me and play Pokemon Go at the park?" So we've got a park near my place, and we'll just wander around in the dark in the playgrounds.
Oh my god!
He's like, "Oh yeah, I checked up the times and with the locations, and there's some Pokemon there." I was like, "Oh yeah, totally."
My
So we'd go walk around in the dark. Couldn't see a thing.
But you caught some Pokemon.
We did.
Yeah, my mates would go out till for 6 hours, come back at 4 in the morning. They go all the way across the city for one and come all the way back. And oh yeah, I got me a Snorlax, but it was shit IV or something. It's just like, wow, time well spent. It's just so yeah, they would just stay at home. They would just scan the map and just find out where the spawns are. If there's a good one, they'd actually go all the way out and fucking get it, and then spend all night out trying to get stuff that they would usually fail and come back all disappointed and depressed and shit.
There's a triple Pokestop at Box Hill Town Centre, Town Hall.
Yeah.
And then there's a front lawn. It's just packed with people sitting around on their phones.
Oh my god.
And usually before Pokemon, it's just empty because why would anyone go there?
Yeah.
And then it's just
Pokestops.
weird. It's just bunches of people just catching Pokemon.
I just hated the money.
And mind you, it's freezing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I just hate seeing the money that was wasted on it and all the time that was spent on it from a collective amount of people when this game was fucking trash. I don't know.
Hey, did they have purchasable stuff as well?
Yeah.
Didn't they?
So obviously if you held a gym, you could get the premium currency to buy your bonuses and shit, or you would just obviously fork out the money. So then you get the eggs or whatever, they give you double XP and all that other sort of shit. Extra egg hatcheries and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so people would buy all of that stuff. I don't know specifically how successful the game was monetized, but I don't know, I can imagine it did pretty well for itself. And that's...
Considering how many people played it.
Yeah.
Like, someone was buying it.
Oh yeah, it probably did
I know,
very
mate,
well.
yeah. I know friends that did spend quite a bit of money on it. And yeah, I just hated seeing it. I just hated seeing it so much, you know. Someone would mention, oh, so-and-so's outside, some Pokemon's outside, and everyone would grab their phones and go fucking running, and you were just like... We were just in the middle of something, it's just like, ugh.
I liked, on the way, I took the bus to uni in the mornings, and on the bus, because you weave through the city, you go past tons of Pokestops,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, you're trying to
Trying
get
to do it on
that.
time. Yeah,
Oh
on
my
the
God.
train as it's
Oh my
going
God.
past and you see
Yeah.
them coming
You
up and you're
just-
like, tap it, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah.
Most,
System going.
yeah, most of my
Yeah.
gameplay was pretty much while someone else was driving. I was playing on 3 phones at once, trying to capture the Pokestops while
Oh,
they
yeah.
were driving past them and shit. Oh god!
Yeah,
I think I spent more time playing other people's games than my own. Like, just,
my friends would be driving and trying to play Pokemon at the same time.
yeah. And that's
Jesus,
the
like,
big.
what are you doing?
That's the big fucking fear as well. That I
Yeah.
don't know how many accidents did happen.
Hey, when they
due
put
to-
that
people-
pop up, it was
people
like,
would get
don't
off.
Pokemon go and drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, people would get off in the middle of the highway just to catch like Pikachus and stuff.
Oh my god.
Do you see that?
I do remember hearing about it, but just like I don't know to what extent people were really doing it.
Oh, people are crazy.
People were fucking.
People are crazy.
I don't know. Like, it's still subjective to say that I hated the game and I thought it was shit, but I just like, I don't know, I just felt like it was so lazy and exploitative. When I saw its previous game, Ingress, you know, that was sort of the last straw for me. I was just like, this is fucking bullshit. Like,
I'm still amazed how big it got. You know.
I'm not really like the fan base of many things, you know, exists mostly on the internet now. You don't really get to see people collectively doing things.
Yeah.
I know you said like people who didn't play Pokemon or know Pokemon really got into it as well because everybody else did. Like you said, it was a thing that went viral. But I think a lot of communities have far many more people. I mean, you've seen just the Rick and Morty trying to bring back the Szechuan sauce and people freaking out over that.
Huge
Oh my
to get
God.
it.
Because they couldn't get them, and there's a dude sitting there with like one sauce packet charging people like $5 a fucking nugget.
No, more than $5.
More than $5?
No, they were going for like a lot of money, like
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars.
$100. Oh fuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like communities can be pretty fucking insane, and bigger than you think they are. It's just not many that bring them outdoors into a whole fucking.
Have you seen
hive.
that video of that Asian guy like
Jumping on the counter?
Yeah.
What the heck is
Oh
he
my
doing?
God. It's
Oh
so-
my god!
It's so cringeworthy, man. It just
Yes.
makes me hate my own
And he's
community.
like,
It makes it look.
I'm Pickle Rick.
Yeah, it makes.
And he's on the ground.
Yeah.
Those people behind the counter just like,
Oh
oh.
Yeah.
god! It's like, we see this. We've seen this already.
It makes me hate my own fandom and stuff. It's so.
And he's on the ground. What blah blah. Oh my god! And then he like ninja runs out of the store.
Oh my
Yeah, the fandoms they can be pretty well. That's what a fan is short for, isn't it? Fanatic. I'm pretty sure that's what it's abbreviated.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, I suppose it's real for all community. I just feel like it could have been so much more. It really could have been something like Game of the Year or something. It could have been worthy of
Well,
that.
yeah,
They
it had
actually
the
tried.
audience. It had definitely had the
Yeah.
audience for
It had the potential, even just what they had already. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's so many games that people just don't seem to really think through, and they just seem to fuck it up on something. You can never just get a really decent game anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all the microtransactions and stuff that kind of ruin games these days. But
Yeah.
even like the big titles,
Releasing everything with purchasable DLC.
yeah.
So they make
Microtransactions,
a
season
game,
pass.
take out 20% and then
Yeah.
charge extra to download
It's like,
it.
where's the ending? Gotta pay for it.
DLC!
Like the new South Park is out. It's like
Yeah.
66 US on Steam at the moment, but you can pay like for the season pass like $120.
Yeah.
What the fuck? No
Mm.
game is worth $120. I don't care how much content you're going to be promising us. It's just, I don't know. It's not the gaming industry's also taken some turns for the worse.
Like loot boxes and stuff
Yeah.
like that, randomized.
That's the thing that it's like
Yeah.
gambling. It's the stuff they figured out years ago that could hook people onto these things, and they're just constantly throwing it because people are willing to buy it and not
Well,
discipline
no one
themselves.
likes them though.
No one likes them, but they still do it. Or at least little kids with their parents' wallets do it. And, you know, either or,
Mm.
the problem's going to keep persisting until people stop doing it altogether.
Yeah, I guess so. Hopefully they change it. I mean, I don't know. You know, like these days, like the older games come out with crazy bugs and stuff.
Yeah, they're all half finished or they're just not properly tested. And
Yeah, they just want to push it out and try to.
just like any business is in, it's just going to make its profit by a certain deadline. And I can imagine the stress that a lot of the devs have to go under to get certain things pumped out by a certain schedule.
Yeah. Like all the, you know, you go back to like all the indie games and stuff where developers really put the effort in, you know, don't release until it's finished.
There's no time constraints,
So,
you know, really it's more just like a hobby that
You
they're
should
working on, and
really go back to that, really.
I agree. That's why I like indie games so much now.
Yeah,
indie
They're,
games have all the innovation
made
in them.
for passion rather than money.
for sure.
That's it.
And they always take like 10 years. So,
Yep.
and if you want a sequel, good luck.
Well,
Well, by that time it gets picked up for how popular it is, and then it becomes a AAA fucking
And
game,
they'll
and then it
ruin it.
becomes
and then
it
loot
becomes
boxes
horrible mess.
appear.
but everyone will be playing it. And be like, have you heard of this game? And you'll be like, I played it 10 years ago when it was good.
Yeah,
When
so
it
that
was
we all
good.
get on it now. Yeah.
And then there'll be a movie of it that just tearing
Oh,
down.
the nightmares. Oh dear. I think all industries are sort of going downhill in terms of
Hopefully
quality.
they'll hit a bottom and we'll be like, actually this is shit, and then it'll rise
I think
again.
I
eventually
don't know,
it'll
it go
be
pretty
crossed.
low, I think.
It's gotten pretty low.
There's no bottom of this chasm, it's just
No.
going to keep going
I mean,
down.
as long as they keep making money, people, even if they don't like it, keep spending their
Hopefully
money.
there'll be enough people that are angry at it that will make
Yeah.
like
these-
comparatively very good stuff.
all these businesses are going to have to go. Sorry, all these major companies are going to have to go out of business until that happens. Though, like EA, Ubisoft, they're all going to have to go downhill.
Because every
until-
game, you know, all the big companies release, there's like a huge outrage or whatever. And
Every
then-
time it's hyped
every
and then
time.
everyone is complaining.
They still,
and then,
they
yeah,
still
then,
purchase.
you know, after like, you know, that game comes out, people forget about it, and
Buy
no
the
one's-
next one.
Yeah, the next one comes out, and still makes a buttload of money.
Hmm.
So
It's like
It's
going
all
to a
about
movie is, and
the
it's like,
advertising and the
yeah.
hype these days.
as long as you paid to see it, or as long as you paid to fucking buy it, and they don't care what you think about it.
They're not
You've
making
already
keepers, they're making like...
pre-orders,
yeah,
right?
pre-orders and all that sort of stuff.
All the extra bonuses you get from pre-orders, and
Yeah.
they suck you in.
Soon enough, the movie industry is going to go down the same route. They're
It's
gonna
already...
force you to pre-buy the ticket to go and see it, and you only,
Oh,
you'd have to purchase the rest of the film as an extendable fucking
Oh yeah, last 10 minutes.
last 10 minutes of the film. or
It's a
something.
DLC.
Uh,
But what happens? What happens?
no. I don't know.
Anyway, I think that went a bit off topic.
I think we did go on a bit of a
Pokemon
tangent.
Go.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah,
gaming,
anyway,
I suppose, but
Pokemon
yeah,
Go. I think we could wrap that up.
we can wrap that one up.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening to another episode of the Fat Potato Podcast. See you next time.
Hmm.
so...